Alright guys, I know the contents of this video may be overwhelming at first. Lots of numbers, lots of facts and figures, but know this, if you would like some help reaching your goals, you can reach out to Ashley, aka Kelly Fierce Fitness, because we will be doing a $1,000 transformation, and that will involve getting your numbers calculated, getting the tips and tools that you need to reach your goals as it relates to nutrition. So if you're interested, definitely keep a lookout and leave a comment below if you'd like us to reach out to you in the future. So I'm gonna get to the video and I hope you guys like it. Hey guys, so I'm back with something a little different for my prep week, and I figured it was getting a little monotonous with the workouts, so I wanted to provide you guys with some really good insights that you can take and hopefully run off with to help you reach your goals. So I recently decided to start purchasing different ebooks and trying to find the best ones out there as resources for those who ask me, like, where do I go for XYZ information? So I came across Andy Morgan's The Complete Guide to Setting Up Your Diet. And it is a great ebook. I highly recommend it. He's a trainer originally from the UK. I believe now he resides somewhere in Asia, and I stumbled across this book through an internet search and I found it to be really enlightening. So as I go through what I'm going to say about this book, I will be citing a couple of points from his book. So I just want to make that clear. And I want to say thank you, Andy, for making such a great ebook. And I hope you guys will go out and purchase it because it is full of great information. So one of the most important things when it comes to setting up your diet, most people are thinking supplementation, working out hours at a time. Honestly, it comes down to the most basic thing, calories. But determining your calories can be very challenging. For some people, you hear 1,200 calories for women, 1,800 to 2,000 calories for men. And these are generic numbers that we hear in the media, we've heard in passing in conversations, and it's just definitely not the case. And I'm gonna explain why. And that is calories. So there's a wonderful pyramid that's provided by Andy Morgan. He actually is the co-author of another ebook that I'm gonna review later, Muscle and Strength Pyramids. And their pyramid puts calories right here. It is the base for everything that you wanna do to reach your goals. Now, it's really important that we don't get so caught up about timing, supplements, micronutrients, going to cut out gluten, going to cut out dairy because you've read it. And honestly, we can't always apply what we read to ourselves, because for one person, gluten is very much fine. For one person, dairy can be great. For others, maybe not so much. So we also want to be careful to make sure everything we do is individualized. So this ebook does a great job of highlighting that. And when it comes to calories, you have to understand that there is a point where the reward is not going to be far above what you want it to be. So if you cut calories too aggressively because you're trying to reach a fat loss goal that's much bigger than your body will allow, you will not lose fat. So it's really important to understand that if you want to lose fat, you have to make sure you're not cutting calories too aggressively. And honestly, when you see shows such as The Biggest Loser, those individuals are able to lose weight at a faster rate than most people, and it's because fatter people are able to lose fat at a higher rate, faster rate than those who are lean. So if you're a lean individual and let's just say you're under 30% body fat, you're 25, 24, 14, you're not going to be losing 2 to 5 pounds like you see on those weight loss shows. So you have to be very cognizant and realistic about your goals. So what does that mean? That means you need to calculate and figure out how many calories you need to be eating so you do not end up in a position where you are not going to be losing fat. So the book provides a couple of different ways that you can reach that number. So the one thing that's really important, and I've been recently talking about this, is understanding how much lean tissue you have. Lean tissue being muscle mass and water total number together gives you your lean tissue mass. If you have your lean mass, you are able to calculate how many calories you need to ingest. Usually most calorie counters take your overall body weight, but honestly a better way to do it is using the Catch-McCardle formula. And the Catch-McCardle formula says that you want to use your lean mass times 9.8 plus 370. So I know those numbers mean nothing, so I'm gonna put it into practical terms. So let's just say myself, I'm 130 pounds. I've used my data testing equipment on myself recently. I know that I'm 106.6 pounds of lean tissue. So when I do the Catch McCardle formula, it turns out at a bare minimum, I'm at 1414 for calories. And if I look at the fact that I've been training 5 to 6 days a week, usually on the 6 days a week, and I use that activity factor that's also part of this formula and I multiply it, and it turns out a number that is 1940. So based on the information in the ebook, it's letting me know that I need to be eating at least 1900 calories, 1940 more specifically. And the thing is, I've actually done another test to validate this, and I've done an RMR test, which I've been talking about recently. It's a service that I offer, and it turns out that the number I got from that was 1714. So those are two different numbers. We have 1940 based on a calculation, and we have 1714 based on a machine. So that's a substantial difference. If I was eating at 1940, it's very easy for me to not lose weight and be in a surplus. So this formula is a great starting point, and I want to emphasize formulas are not bad, they're great, but if someone's using a formula, you need to give yourself at least 4 to 8 weeks to make tweaks if you don't have access to an RMR machine, if you don't have access to your lean tissue. All right, guys. So I gave you my example about how I have the calculation giving me one number and my machine give me another. But either one is always going to be trial and error when you're trying to figure out your calories. As long as you have a starting point, that's always really helpful, and the closest you can get to being as accurate as possible, that's only gonna help you reach your goals. So when it comes to those first few weeks and you're on this plan, whether you have the machine or you're using a formula that your coach has provided you, you have to be open to the process. Because a lot of the times, especially in leaner individuals, and yes, you may not consider yourself lean at 20 or 25%, but that's still leaner than someone who's, say, 40% body fat. So when you experience those stalls, a lot of the times the body's just catching up to what we're doing. Like, it wants to understand that we are still able to survive. And if it feels like it's on the cusp of not being able to survive, it's going to do its best to protect ourselves. And that protection comes in the form of not losing weight. And you may be like, but I want to lose weight. But our body only knows one thing, and that is homeostasis. It knows the bare minimum that it requires to keep us breathing, moving, acting, and living our day-to-day lives. So do not get frustrated, because it does happen for everyone. At some point there will be a stall, but you don't want to be frustrated. That's because when we work out, we are creating stress to our body. Yes, working out is very beneficial, but it's also a stress. So when we experience those stalls that I talk about, that everyone will experience at some point, it's because our body is dealing with those rises in cortisol. And honestly, when you're in a caloric deficit and you're adding training as a stressor and you're not getting enough sleep, it's definitely a recipe for you to experience these weight stalls. So the only thing you can do is note that a caloric deficit is a stress. Having intense weight training sessions is a stress. The only thing you can really do to control, because you really want to set yourself up to lose weight, is control your sleep. Reduce other lifestyle stressors in your life. And Andy Morgan does a great job explaining this in his book. So if you have a stall, a lot of the times, as he mentions, it is because of water retention masking as fat loss. And you'll hear it in other videos from other people who've talked about this subject, is that a whoosh effect will occur, where all of a sudden you'll wake up much leaner than you were when you started. So you just have to be patient and understand that it's very much a part of the process, and the body is incredibly smart, and there's no need to quit a program. You definitely want to give any program that you're doing a good 6-month run of really committing hard to it before you change your mind. All right, guys, so I know I gave you all that information, but how do we apply it to real life? We understand now that calories are the base for everything in which we build upon, and we know how to calculate that using the Catch McCardle formula. We know roughly that's an estimate, and that we have to give any program that we're sticking to enough time to be able to understand the trends. So I want to apply this to real life. I had my real data because I did the test myself, and I have the numbers I had from the Catch McCardle, but I'm actually going to use my RMR results, which showed that I could eat 17-14 and lose weight. So based on that information, I wanted to think, how most Americans think. I don't want to go into my kitchen and cook you a bunch of chicken and tell you that quinoa is great and celebrate celery sticks. Let's be honest, most people are probably going to listen to it, and you can listen to all the advice as you want, but reality is most people live on the go. So I want to take my caloric goals and take it outside of my home and figure out what exactly I can eat. 1,714 calories, how far will that get me at Starbucks? Which is easy, convenient. They offer breakfast. You can definitely finagle it for lunch, and you could probably swing dinner. So we're going to go to Starbucks, and I'm going to show you how I get in 1,700 calories roughly into that menu. And I also did some research, so if they don't have all the items that I'm looking for, I'll explain to you how I came about finding those items. And I'm going to explain to you my numbers, and I hope that this makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, don't worry, I can make another video explaining it, or I'll link down below videos of other YouTubers who've done a great job explaining macro breakdowns, and I love supporting other YouTube channels when I can. So here's the thing. Using Andy Morgan's ebook, I did a couple of calculations of my own. He includes a handy Excel sheet, which is added bonus, but because those numbers weren't the numbers I had, I just did my own calculations using the tips, and I already knew this stuff from doing research on this before, and it's the way I like to work with clients, and I have worked with clients in the past. So I came up with this, that I should take in 64 grams of fat, 168 grams of carbs, and 117 grams of protein. So 64 grams fat, 168 carbs, 117 grams of protein. That comes out to be 576 calories of fat, 670 calories of carbs, 468 calories of protein. So I looked at the Starbucks menu, and I'm gonna show you / possibly tell you, if I can't find it there, what actually will work for me to get in all that food, including the macro aspect and the calorie aspect. So see you at Starbucks.
This one last time before we go, get all the good vibes. Send me your eyes.
I was an on-the-go person, and I was only really able to have Starbucks as my quick alternative. Here's what I would do for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For breakfast, I'd get the oatmeal. It's whole grain oatmeal, and I would get this juice, the cold press organic super green food or super food fruits, greens. Excuse me. I would do that. And I would not put all the toppings in there. I'd do at least half the packet of the brown sugar, because this is only 50, but the other toppings are over 100 calories each. So this would be my cheat, is just get the brown sugar. I'd use about half of it. By using half, it's only 6 grams of carbs, 6 grams of sugar, and 25 calories. And that's still a lot if I cut this in half. So pretty low calorie, it'll make it taste good. I would do the almond protein drink, so the almond protein blended cold brew. This is new to Starbucks. What I would do though is I'd add an extra scoop of their whey isolate. It's an additional 20 grams. That would make this drink 33 grams of protein, give or take, depending on how they scoop it in there. So, but that's still pretty good for 33 grams. So this drink is awesome. It tastes pretty good too. So I would do this as a post-workout shake. See what I'm saying? So I do this for breakfast. I'd work out a couple hours later, drink this as a post-workout. It has my protein, it has my carbs in it, all good. I'd wait a few more hours for lunch. I'd come back to Starbucks. I'd get avocado spread. I would also get the egg and cheese mercado box. If I was very cognizant about like sodium and wanting to watch out for sugar and extra calories, I would avoid eating the yolk to take out some calories. I'd probably maybe not eat the grapes. Maybe I'd eat them, but those are usually, it's naturally occurring sugar, mind you, but it's grapes. But it's good for you. But if you wanted to trim something out of here, those would be the two things I'd suggest. Then this is only 90 calories, so that's like a great deal in terms of that. And then for dinner, I would have this chicken salad. And The only thing people will have a gripe with a lot of these prepackaged meals is the sodium. So the trick with sodium, cut out with the dressing, so either dip your fork and then dip in your salad, or just only pour a quarter or half of that and just really try to lather as much as you can of half that container of dressing in there, and that will get you there. So this whole thing right here will put me at about 1,700 calories. So we can do a quick calculation, see where we're at. So with this one, we have 180. I'm gonna do half a packet of the brown sugar, so 25 plus 2, so yeah, 180 plus 25 plus 220 plus fish weight is 270 plus 90 plus 470 plus 90 again plus 430. I'm at 1775. That's pretty close for just doing some quick grab and go. So I'm a little bit over, but that's not bad because like I said, if I make that adjustment by just not having all the dressing, only eating the egg white, not the yolk, that's gonna definitely knock off quite a bit of calories. So this would be what I would choose. Now, my suggestion to you guys, like if you're doing this, look at calories first, like the pyramid suggests. So look at your calories first. Don't stress about the macro and micronutrients. You can make those adjustments as you learn and go. Like I said with the oatmeal, for example, I would just get everything and just look at everything and be like, okay, I can't have the nuts, I can't have the berries because those are each 150 plus calories or 100 plus calories each. I'm gonna skip that. So you have to be an educated consumer, and you have to be willing to make those decisions on the go. You can't just be like, I heard brown sugar's bad for you, I'm not gonna get it. I mean, really, is it? Because I'm looking at the back of it, it has 6 grams of carbs compared to this little fruit drink that you would think is great, and this is 41 grams of carbs. So just make sure you're really being smart about how you make those statements about things that are good and bad for you. And of course, if you have food sensitivities and things of that nature, there's plenty of tests out there that you can take to figure out, do you need more options that are more gluten friendly? Can you afford to eat a little bit more sugar than most people? Yep. I think that person was like, yeah, that would be me. I'm that person who can have a little bit more sugar. This is what I would do, you guys. It doesn't seem like much, and I'm gonna add up how much this costs me. So for a full day of eating on the go at Starbucks, this costs me, let's see, we'll start here. So this drink was $2.99. This drink was $5.95, plus about 89 cents tax for those. This things were $16.13. So refresh. So $29 roughly. Just round up 30 bucks for me to get all this food for one day. So, 30 bucks. That seems pretty steep because I know I could go to the grocery store for sure and probably spend about $125, $150 and have enough for about a week and a half, maybe get more volume. But once again, this video is just to show you that you can do it. So if you can afford to do it and you're trying to really live a healthy lifestyle and you can't afford with your time to do it yourself, this is what I would suggest. Hopefully this helps you. Next week we're going to tackle Panera.